Hey guys, Dr. Michael Tang, physiotherapist. In this video, I'm going to be going over what I think are some of the essentials for the gym and a little bit of bonus stuff that are optional but are kind of nice to have. Links are in the description box for the timestamps and the items listed in the video. First essential, in my opinion, is a gym bag, preferably a duffel bag just like this. Of course, right? Having a gym bag just makes it a little bit easier to carry all the different things that you want, especially like the items that I have on the list. Now, the one that I have here is really big, which allows me to kind of conveniently have everything that I want to bring all in one place. But I know for most of you, something like this is probably going to be overkill because I can't even get this thing to fit in a locker. Now, outside of carrying stuff, something that you may not have considered is that when you have all your different things all in one place, it's helpful in reducing the friction to go to the gym. As many of you guys know, sometimes the hardest thing about going to work out is literally getting the willpower to actually go and work out. So any barriers that you can remove, in my opinion, is going to be a big win. Now, getting into what's actually in my bag, I'm going to start with the Pulley Handles. Yes, Pulley Handles. Yes, I know that the gym already has Pulley Handles, but it always seems like every time I go, I can't ever find the attachment because it's either lost or somebody's using it or some variation of that. So because of that, I just carry this around with me, and it just gives me a peace of mind to know that whenever I go to a machine, I don't have to waste time looking for any attachments. I have a pulley here, but really you can use any type of attachment that you want, whether it be a Velcro strap or anything you can think of. Now, I probably wouldn't go with a heavier attachment like a rope attachment or a specific bar, just because it just gets too heavy. And now, following along the same ideas of just making it a little bit more convenient, I also bring my own adjustable barbell clips. Now, these work pretty simply by just opening and closing. You can put it on an Olympic barbell, and there's a latch here that just kind of pops it on and you put it on there. These things are just way better in comparison to the metal clips that you might find at the gym, just because it's more stable, it's more sturdy, and it's faster to use. It's really not even a comparison. So if you have the extra money for it, this is like a must have. Next is something that some might consider to be controversial, and it is some gloves and lifting straps. Now, the reason I have them on the essentials is because, in my opinion, I don't think it is a good reason to not do an exercise just because of abrasion to the skin. Right? So for gloves, given that I work with my hands as a practicing physiotherapist, it is really not the best idea for me to have my hands super beaten up and dried out with a bunch of calluses, especially if I'm working on people. And then for lifting straps, I use them as a tool because I don't want my form to be compromised when I have certain muscles give out before others. Right? So for example, when I'm doing single leg squats, my forearms they typically give out a little bit faster than my legs. Yes, I know that you can adapt and develop your strength in your forearms if you don't lift or don't use the lifting straps. But realistically, the muscles in my legs are just bigger muscles, and so they're going to adapt a little bit faster than, say, the muscles in my forearm. Think about what the main goal is. The main goal when I do split leg squats is to train my legs, not necessarily my forearms. You can also use them for the front rack position if you don't have enough wrist flexibility, and that's referring to a front squat. So in other words, that there's multiple uses to this thing. But outside of just making the exercise portion a little bit smoother, this part of the list is actually going to focus more on the personal comfort side. So that is why I have some cleaning wipes like this with me. That way you don't really have to be dissuaded, just because it's a little bit dirty. Now, most gyms will have paper towels for when you want to use to wipe down equipment, but it always seems like there's either no paper towels available because they ran out, or the cleaning fluid ran out, or maybe you just don't want to leave the spot because someone might take your spot while you're gone. But not anymore because I have these wipes. Haha, perfect. Now moving along, Water. You should bring some water with you. Now, I personally carry a gallon with me, and I use it in a cheap plastic one that I got from the store. But they also make some that are harder plastic, like this one. Now, I know everybody may not necessarily want to bring a gallon to the gym. However, all I'm trying to get at is you should bring some water. And then finally, we can get to earphones. Oh, earphones. Now, I think the best type of earphones are the ones that have a little bit of a rubber tip and are wireless, because they kind of stay in your ear a little bit better with a more of a snug fit. They insulate the sound a little better so you don't have to hear all the outside chatter, and the wires don't have to get caught in anything that you're using. And then in my opinion, if you have the over-the-head headphones, those are the worst kind of headphones because they are heavier, they're bulkier, they get hot around your ears, and they're easier to break if they fall off your head. But I understand some people might want to wear them for a fashion sense, so to each their own. Okay, so that's it for the essentials. Now on to the extras. We're gonna go ahead and start off with the things that I use to warm up with, which is elastic bands and hip abduction band. That's going to be for afterwards. So the elastic bands, I mostly use this to warm up. The elastic nature of it makes it nice for eccentric and isometric activity. And sometimes I'll use something like this too for when I need assistance when I'm doing pull-ups. Helps me kind of reduce the resistance. And then for the hip abduction band, it kind of just gives me some tactile cues for me to use my glutes and my hips a little bit better when I'm doing some squats or even hip thrusts. And talking about hip thrusts, it relates to the next item, which is the barbell pad cushion thing for specifically when I do hip thrusts. Now, I know that some gyms will already have this, but I think it's just better to kind of have it with me at all times, so then I don't have to go search for it or use somebody else's thing. This particular exercise, I don't even think I can even tolerate doing the exercise unless I have this barbell pad type of thing. You can use a shirt, I guess, but this is way better. You can also use this for squats, but I personally do not, because if I use this for a squat, the way that this kind of sits on my back, it makes it uneven, and it's just not the most comfortable thing. But for some of you guys who may have some conditions on your back or whatever it may be, it's just another option that you can use it for. But now that we're talking about squats, when I do squats, I typically use Olympic lifting shoes. In here, I've been wearing these for a couple of years now, but the whole idea behind the Olympic lifting shoes is that they have an elevated heel. If your ankle flexibility is not as good, they kind of help you in that way. And these shoes are incredibly stable. There is no, other than the forefoot moving, this entire section here does not move. So it's really, really flat and stable. The biggest disadvantage to these type of shoes is that outside of lifting weights or exercising, doing leg exercises, these things are not good for running or jumping or cutting or whatever. This is strictly a lift weights thing. Next, I have a dip belt with a towing cable and carabiner clips. I don't know what you might be thinking. You're like, hey, what is this for? It is something that I made specifically for when I do sled pulls. Having the carabiner clips, the quick release, is really nice so that I can just kind of transition on and off, putting it onto the sled. The biggest advantage is my torso can be at whatever angle I want it to be, whether I want it to be kind of lean forward or if I want to be leaning back a little bit more upright, doesn't really matter. This is kind of gives me the freedom to do that. And then I have another belt specifically with a chain, same thing, carabiner clip, quick release, and I use this specifically when I do weighted pull-ups. I also have a Gait Belt. I use this specifically for when I am doing tibialis raises or weighted hip flexions. Knee pads, which I know seems strange, but really, in my opinion, I think they are super underrated. I use them primarily when I'm doing Nordic curls for obvious reasons. My knees cannot take the force of just the floor. When I'm also doing some split leg squats to protect the front of my shins and my ankles, and also when I do deadlifts to avoid getting my shins scraped. but they're probably my favorite part that they keep my knees warm. I know it's a little weird, but I like having warm knees. So all in all, I think they are super, super awesome. And the last thing that I keep in here is probably a sleeper pick that you probably don't pay attention to, but it is Electrolyte Tablets. I like to make sure that I have all my electrolytes in check before I exercise as well as after. Normally people can drink their energy drinks or their sports drinks, but I like these because I can avoid all the extra sugar and calories. And that's it. This is all the stuff that I bring to the gym every single time I go. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff, but really it's been what's working the best for me over the past couple of years. So yeah, if you like this video, consider leaving a like on the video, and please leave a comment below to let me know if there's different stuff that you guys bring to the gym in case that, you know, maybe I got to add it to all the other stuff that I got. That would be fantastic. And consider subscribing to the channel for more helpful videos just like this one. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.